Good evening, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to this very special video and currently live on Twitch. So I welcome everybody here today to do something very special. It's the first time I do something like this. I hope you will enjoy it. Don't hesitate to ask any question you have in the chat. I will try to answer it at my best possible. So, we are here today for a simple reason. A few weeks earlier, I won on Twitter, thanks to Alchemist Workshops, and I thank them so much. I won the new edition of Sabbat Worlds Crusade, a source book for Warhammer 40k, and this book is signed by Dan Abnett, the writer of it, who is one of my favorite authors. Well, he is my favorite author from the Black Library. So today I'm going to just here. Wait a second. Just here I have the package with the book, and I can't wait to open it and see with you what's inside. But also, I think it's a good occasion to talk with you about the first edition of this book and to do a little comparison in order to be able to see which version, the difference between each version. So, I'm going to start by showing very quickly, because we are here for the new edition, but I want to show the old one first. So, this is the first edition of Sabbat Worlds Crusade. As you can see, this edition is in French, because I got it in France, and I'm French. So, it's quite a slim book. There are 95 pages. All in color, paper is nice, with some black and white illustration, a lot of text, and it's a soft cover book. So it's quite a good book, but in fact, this book is supposed to be something written by someone living in the Warhammer 40k universe, and in fact, this book doesn't look like a book who would be written by someone there, because you can see it's just a classic book from our world. But what's inside is very interesting, and I won't give all the details, but it's a very good book if you want to have an inside look of the Sabbat Worlds Crusade. From, I think this book, yes, it goes from 755 to 775, so 20 years of war and crusade. And inside you have a lot of explanation of all the steps of this crusade, and it's very interesting. So basically, this book explains from the point of view of a character from 40k. His name is Anthony Biota. It's an Imperial tactician. And so in this book, he will explain everything that happens during the first 20 years of the crusade. It's very interesting because it shows a lot of aspects you don't have in the more classic novel, because all this setting is a setting where takes place all the novel from the Gaunt Ghost series from Dan Abnett. And so during all the novels, you have only the point of view of Gaunt and his regiment. And thanks to this book, you can have a much more larger point of view, and you are able to understand on a wider scale what happened in the Sabbat world. Okay, so this is the first edition. I think it has been made in 2005. Have you that's a good. This book has also been signed by Dan Abnett for me, and there's an interesting story with it. I will try to tell it to you, but not right now. After maybe a bit later. So now it's time to check the new edition. I show you how was the first edition, and now let's have a look and let's do the unboxing part. I'm quite excited because this is one of my favorite books, and because it represents a lot. So now time to see what's inside this nice box. So I have to be careful because if I turn the box in the wrong side, everybody may be able to see my address. Okay. So, first impression, this is a much heavier book, and it's a hardcover. So that's not the same. We're not of the same quality and the same spirit. Let's go. Let's pop some bubble, just because it's fun. But no, we're not here to do that, we're here for this book. So, let's see. Very nice. Okay. So, here's the beast. Very nice, big book. The cover is very beautiful. So, first impression, side is golden. I don't know if you can see it. It's hardcover, and it's much bigger than the other. So, first impression is that this could be a book you could find in a library in a world of 40k. You could imagine going to some kind of library and I want the story of the Sabbat Worlds Crusade by Anthony Biotta, and you could get a book look like a bit like this. That's interesting. So now we are not here just to watch the cover. We're going to look into what's inside, and we are going to have a quick look about this, and then we will look at a comparison between the old one and the new one. So I'm going to go to my second camera, maybe a bit strange at the beginning, and then it will be better. So, okay. And now. So, let's discover what's inside this book. I want to a little precaution. I think that this book goes to the last Gun Ghost novel which has been written, so if you haven't read all the Gun Ghost novel, you may be a little spoiled by what's inside this book. I don't know exactly, but I think that it goes very far in the story, much further than the previous book. So, first, the signature. A nice pleasure. Thank you, Dan Abnett, to have signed this book. It's thank you very much, and once again, thank you, Alchemist Warcraft, to make me win this book. Okay, so it starts with a letter. This is something new. Colonel Grey. Oh, that's a colonel working for the intelligence of the Imperium. An Inquisitor. Okay. I think this phrase tends to say that you will not be able to find this book into a classic library. Very nice cover. So this time it's Ludovic Dipol who wrote it. It's not Anthony Biotta anymore. Well, hello Ibramgaunt. Quite nice. So everything is changed. I can already tell it by this at this point, and I won't show too much what's on the other page because I don't want to spoil the content of the book in terms of text and maybe some image, but not the text, not too much, because here just this part spoils at least the last book, the two last book of the Gone Ghost. The Janet first. It's quite funny because I understand what they have done here. The first book, the first edition, 15 years ago, the Janet were not so famous, and so the book was not very in an emphasis on the Janith, the first and only. It was more about all the Crusade. But this time, when you take in account some events in the last book, everything is much more focused on the Janith. Because already on the few first pages, but it's interesting because we have nice drawings of character. This is Bragg. Try again, Bragg. It's funny to see him because he hasn't been in the novel since a long time. Dorden, the medic, very interesting too. So it's a gallery of a lot of Janith character. It's a real focus on this. Oh, interesting. What is it? Oh my god, a map. Oh god, Emperor. I think I'm going to have an orgasm. I love maps so much. I have a full map. Oh, this is going to be so useful because I currently DM a campaign of Only War, which takes place in the Sabbat world, and so this map is going to be very, very useful to show where they are to my players. Wow, awesome. Nothing at the back. Okay, and quite funny, I just saw this. Gilliman's sinkhole. Is that Gilliman asshole? Ultramarines will kill me if I see they see I told this. Okay. Confidential. That's a wonderful map. Okay. Phase 1. 2 years from 54 to 56. I'm not going to review all the page. I'm going to switch to go a bit quicker. Oh, this content, I remember this content. This content is much more from the first book. Yes. Yeah. Okay. A lot of description of operation, a bit of propaganda. Regiment of Renowns. A lot of new illustration. Wow. Blue Blood, Volpone Blue Bloods. If one day Games Workshop make Imperial Guards who looks like this, that will be very interesting. Space Marines, more Space Marines. Phase 2. Bloody Past Balhole. Well, I'm not going to watch all everything. Oh, the Academy. Well, a lot of interesting folks. They look very friendly, isn't it? Not so much. Phase 3. Ballhold. That's interesting. I'm going currently my player on only one during the Ballhold battle. Lord Makaroth, new War Master. I suppose this is Urlog. Phase 4. Cable Salient. What I can... Oh, hello, Tempest Ultra. Tempestuous Ultra. Sorry. Sorry to... How are you? Welcome here. So, what I can already say is that we are already at page 100, and the first edition had only 95 pages, and I'm maybe halfway into the book, so a lot more. Oh, well, I understand you are tired if you are recovering. I hope everything went well, and I hope it was not too bad. Okay, so Vervenhive, a good. My favorite book of all the Gone Ghost series is Necropolis. So I always love to be reminded of this book. Okay, I'm going to jump a bit some page. We are not here to watch everything. The Saint. Some nice plane. This makes me want to play Aeronautica Imperialis. Tanks. Oh, that's interesting. Some Xenos Phase 5. Phase 5. Can group. Morgaunt. Blood Pact. Morgaunt. Erodor. Nefarious Engine of Destruction. Blood Pact. Oh, that's interesting. We haven't really seen good illustration of Blood Pact character before. They're nice. Oh, Wire Wolves, Lycanthroid in French. Loxatl. Oh, the Anarch. Some Son of Sec. That's a really beautiful book. I really like it. And so, here, 75 to 85. So now we are in the future. The first book only go to 75. So right now, with phase 6, we are after the first edition. Oh, phase 7 it's a bit quick, but there's a lot. I really like that there are all this map, this phase chart. It's very good to know what happened and where. Minus it's Armaduke. Regiment of Renown, okay. A small warlord. River, some titans. High Command Lord Generals. Oh, that's interesting. We have a face for all the Lord General, Lord Militant. I like this. Dash. Oh, this is major spoilers for the last books. And here we are, so with how much? 226 pages. We have a much larger book than the first edition. So let's take the first edition and to do a quick comparison. And it's a bit the same. Some illustrations are the same. This, we have seen it. Yeah, some illustrations are the same, but absolutely not all. And the content is, on some points, the content is the same, but what differs mostly is the illustration. Oh, hello Simba. How are you? I'm great. I'm currently doing the second part of the video where I compare the first edition with the second. And so this is the old edition, side to side with the new one. So as you can see, it's absolutely not the same kind of book. This one is a soft cover, this one is hardcover, and they are absolutely not the same size. Quite thick, much thinner. And I'm currently, I just went through the new one very quickly, and now I'm doing the same with the old one to do a comparison. And it's very interesting. The second book is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a real piece of collection with a nice gold side, very nice, very classy. And so as you can see, one is much more thicker than the other. And so yes, it's the first one is very good, and I read it so many times. But the new one is clearly a lot of step ahead, because not only the book itself is much more prettier and fancier, but also the new book has a lot of new illustration, and a lot of I will say interesting illustration, because this one, you can say that they have a lot of the drawings and the illustration are just old photos and or things which are not really 40k but have been put there to add to the mood. And there is no many famous character portrait or famous regiments. It's mostly the text which is good. The illustrations are interesting but are not the best. In this one, in contrary, there are a lot of new illustration. They use a lot of maps. So, for instance, This is the new Macaroth from this edition, and let's see. And so yes, and here we have the old one, old Macaroth, new Macaroth. You can say it's not the same. The old illustration is nice too, but we have another level of quality. And so this new book is yes, the old is clearly inspired by Napoleon. New one is a bit less Napoleonic. Even if all the uniform from this from iCommand in 40K looks like a bit like a nice and prestigious uniform from the 19th century. And so I will say, for a quick comparison, I will say that the new one, I haven't read it yet, so I can say if the Umaru. I can't really say if right now the content is better, if the text is better, but I trust Dan Abnett to have done a very good work with taking everything he has already written and adding new content. But just on the quality of the book, well, the new edition is absolutely perfect so far. It's a very nice book, very fancy, with a lot of new drawings. Well, just by going through the pages quickly, I already saw so many new drawings. I want to watch at them more. This is a much more complete book, and much more much more complete. That's the main quality. This old one is very interesting for its content, but this new one, between everything that is new from the new novels, every new illustration, the fact that the tennis it is much more focused on tennis first and only, which is logical when you see where is the book and the story right now. I really want to. This book is much more complete, as at the same time for someone who wants to learn things about the Sabbat Worlds Crusade, and also for someone who like the first and only tennis, and want to dive again into their stories and their universe. So this one was much more for people who like military lore and was not very focused on tennis, was just focused on the campaign, the crusade. It's very interesting. This one, you have much more information on the tennis, on information from the books, the novel, and so it's all. I tend to say that it is all the good from this book, plus much more. And besides that, it's also a very, very nice book. I cannot emphasize enough how cool it looks. So yes, I'm very happy to be able to have it and to share this with you. And now, if you have any question, please ask, because I think I've just said everything I want to tell about it. But if you would like to see something specifically, or if you have a specific question, it is time to ask. And meanwhile, I'm going to tell you a little story, and why it's important and little story and why this is important for me. this the ghost the Gone Ghost novel are very important for me because it's ones we have really bonded with by reading it with my father. My father is the one who bring me to wargame and to sci-fi novel, and it's me who bring him to Warhammer 40k and to Warhammer 40k novel, and so we bonded a lot around Gone Ghost novel, and it makes him write a full story and a full background and full lore about his Imperial Guard regiment. And so it's something very important for me this universe and this setting, the Sabbat Worlds, have become very important for me and represent a lot of my relationship with my father. So I'm really glad to be able to share this with you and to have these two books who are both signed by Dan Abnett. And so, Simba, you're asking, do you intend to do a summary after reading it? I will certainly do a summary, something written, because it will be more interesting to read it quickly than to hear me talk about it. So yes, I will do a summary. But do you have any special question about the content? Oh, and for information, this one, I've made it signed in universe because as I've made it signed by Dan Abnett in the name of the supposed writer of this edition and to the general, the colonel of the regiment my father played. What was the main addition in terms of background? From a simple point of view, this one covers 20 years of Crusade. This one covers 40 years of Crusade. So this one starts with the beginning of the Crusade in 55 and goes to 75, and this one goes from 55 to 95. So, in fact, in terms of background, it takes everything that happens in the last Gaunt Ghost book and go to, from what I've read quickly, it really goes to the end of the last Gaunt Ghost book. So this one is really up to date with the Sabbat Worlds Crusade and what has been written by Dan Abnett. So maybe a third edition in some years when if there are new novels of Gone Ghost, because honestly it could stop at the point where it is right now, but I don't know. Well, so I'm really glad to have been able to show you this unboxing and the comparison between this quick comparison between these two books. Now I'm going to take a lot of time to really read it from start to the end, and after that I will tell you a bit more about it. I want to thank one more time Alchemist Workshops for the giveaways I made. I want to thank Dan Abnett for signing it and writing it and building this wonderful universe which is Sabbat Worlds. And finally, I want to thank you who have been watching this live or this video. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me. I can answer them, and it will be a pleasure for me to give you info if you want more info on this book. Thank you a lot for watching, and see you soon, maybe on another live or on Twitter, and have a very good end of day. And See you soon. Goodbye, everybody.